Should.
Yeah.
About Faststone image viewer.
Yep.
It's free software. You do get asked for a donation about once a year. I have it. I've had using it for, I don't know, 6-7 years or so. I probably use it every day. The photography. You get asked for a donation once a year, and I reckon that 10p a day is pretty good value for money. So a 35 quid or 30 quid donation a year, which is about what I do, I think it's well worth the money. Okay, now I've got to try and work out whether this is going to work. Okay, so I'm going to try sharing my screen now. Let's just try this one.
Hold on.
Okay. So when you open up the software, this is what you get, which is pretty standard. So this is the area where you can see all the images. You see, if I just open a few that you can see, it looks like when it's running. It's running. Where are we? Up here. And it gives you this. Now, there are various things that you could do as an image viewer. One of the things that you could do when looking at these thumbnails is you can change the size of the thumbnails if you want to by going into settings and thumbnail, and just here you can change them to different sizes, from very small postage stamps up to the size that you see now, which is quite useful at times, depending on what you're trying to do. If you're looking at images, especially if you just dumped a lot off your camera and you're wanting to sort them out, this is very useful. This is what I tend to use this for, mostly. You can change the appearance of this as well if you want to by the theme here. I've got the grey. You can have the bright or the dark, which is black, so I'll put it back to grey. So you can choose that. This is just your file structure, and this is a little preview of the image that you're looking at. And again, it's just a left click to change from image to image. There are lots of things up there which I won't particularly go into because it'll all come out, and once you see what it does, those will start to make sense as far as it goes. One useful thing to do when you're sorting images is this thing called, you can sort these things by different criteria. You can sort them by file name, you can sort them by size, you can sort them by date, which is very useful. You can sort them by type. So if you've got different file types, you can sort them out that way. Or as I said, you can do them by file name. And the fact that these are in brackets means it's the other way around. This means it starts with the latest date. This means it starts with the earliest date. So that actually I find quite useful when I'm sorting things out. What else should I just look at for this? You can change. I think most of the other things that I want to talk about will come up as I go along. The big thing that you need to do is, okay, I can see these images and I now want to do something with one. So it's your return key. gives you the full size version of the image. And if you press it again, you go back. So that's the in and out. And this is your working screen, if you like, and this is your overall view screen. And so this is where you can do such editing as you want to do. I see you will have possibly noticed that this is not a mono print picture, but this is starting off as a color one, and I'll watch how you can change it to mono. How you actually find the things that you want. I hope, can you all see this little cursor thing?
Mm. Yep.
I can't make that any bigger. I've tried to, but I can't find any way of making it bigger. Okay, if you move the cursor to the left of the screen, it pops out this bunch of tools. Top ones are fairly obviously just sort of management things. These ones are cropping, cloning and healing, resizing, resampling things. And then down here is what you can do with the colors or with the grayscale. If I just click on grayscale, for instance, it just turns it to gray. To go back, you need to do, does everybody know everything about the Windows shortcut of Control Z and Control Y? Control Z takes you back a step, and Control Y takes you forward a step of your editing process. I think what I'll do is sort of, if you go to the top, top of the screen, you get a strip of all the images, so you can select the one that you want to look at this way. When you take the cursor back to the middle, it disappears. If you go over to the right, of course you can't see it, because, well, I can't because we've got the people here, but there's this here is actually, that's going to be a blasted nuisance. Okay, we'll see how we get on. This gives you the EXIF information. This is
Shrink it on the view.
Pardon?
There's a view top right, just to be one person or speaker. That will get some of it out of the way.
Yes, my problem is, of course, when I go to the top.
Okay, all right, never mind.
Go to the top, it's, hello, what's this? Just put that to speaker. Okay, where was I?
Being interrupted.
Right. If you put it to the right-hand side, this gives you the EXIF information. This is the data about the photograph that the camera takes at the time of taking the picture. And you can actually write things in there. And there's the thing that we will be talk about, which is histogram, which is really, really helpful. But the first thing with editing here is when you've got a picture, and the first thing you probably want to think about it, is it straight? And does it need straightening? Is it upright? Well, of course, there's no levels on this, but there is a tool here called Straighten, which gives you this. And you can, and then if you hold the click right button down, you can move this around to line up with what looks like what should be vertical. And I think you can just about see that it's not. You've got down here, you've got a full screen preview, which shows you the same thing. And you can do the right click, hold the right click down, and you can see whether you are. Unfortunately, you can't do the change here. So you need to go escape key, get back to this. And you'll notice that here you can either use this to change the thing, or you can run up and down the numbers here. And I think that this one needs about, looking here, that looks about right. So you can see that lines up pretty well. So we know that the picture is straight. So if you think that's okay, you can okay that. There are tools here that you can use in that whether it does or doesn't crop the picture as it goes. And it will just line it up. One thing about doing editing, I don't know how you do it, but my strong recommendation is to keep, each time you make a change, is to keep saving a new version of the print, because if something goes wrong, you don't want to, with this, you just want to be able to step back to where you were and not have to go right back to the beginning. So as you go, and if you change, perhaps not with every change you make, but make sure you do take, I would recommend you do take copies as you go, and you will end up a stream of copies of the pictures as they occur, which is why this thing looks like that, because that's exactly what I've done. Okay. Now you have to decide, what's this picture about? And it's these lads playing basketball, and they are in this large hall, and they're all standing around here because there's a ball up here. There's a guy tossed the ball up, and is it going to go in or isn't it? So really, that's what the picture's about. It had to be much bigger because that was one for the camera, and I couldn't get close to them. So the first thing the next thing, the thing you probably want to do is your crop board. And down here, you can either choose the ratio that you want, or you can use freehand. And so let's do freehands. And so now you probably can't see this cursor, but there's a little tiny cross, which you can draw across the image. And I've got it so that it does show the thirds. You can take those off if you like, or put them back on with this down here. And I think what you need here is to get rid of all this at the side, and at the same time that's got rid of all this stuff up here, which is not adding to the picture. It's okay, it's telling you it's at a big gym, but it's not, that's not what the picture's about. The picture's about the lads playing. So if you crop that, so right, so now you've got the cropped picture. Actually, you might say, well, is that not, looking at it now, I think there's too much at the bottom, so I'm just going to crop that a bit more. And incidentally, take out some of this, take out that thing. Okay. Now, how does that look? It looks pretty good. But again, the focus of the picture is over to the right. This lad and these people, okay, they're all looking at it, but they're not really adding to it. And you've got this other backboard here, which is a big white blob, which is not really adding anything again to the picture, and is drawing your eye away from there. So I think that we just need to whack that in like that. I think we'll take a little bit more off here, off the bottom, and bring the top down. So now I think we've got the makings of a reasonable picture. I'm not saying this is a great competition type picture, but it's the sort of thing that you might well take, but it's how you can make, well, it's not exactly a silk purse out of a sow's ear, because not even Photoshop has got that button, but it can make, you can improve any picture like that. So I think now we're going to have to put it into grayscale for you to see. So actually, it changes the picture. Here it is quite, I think it tends to sort of, oh, sorry, I've gone the wrong way. I've made a cardinal mistake that I just need to crop that. There we are, back to that. This across here like that. This down. Okay. But turning it to grayscale makes it sort of duller, if you like, different type of picture altogether. So there are things that you can do with this, which are these more apparently complicated tools. One of them is you can adjust the lighting. Okay, So you've got these sliders here, which is shadows, highlights, contrast, and saturation. Well, saturation doesn't do anything because in this case, because we've got a mono picture. If I take this, look at this, what this does is lift the dark parts, lighten the darker parts of the image. And if you've got to hold down so you can compare, you can actually, if you prefer, you can show it on a side-by-side basis by using this little tool here. I tend not to use that because you get a bigger view. So that's what that tool does. And then the highlights, this does the same thing, but for the light end of the picture. So you can either raise them or lower them. And that's what you can do. And this just puts it back to 0, or you can write a number in here, or you can use the slider. Contrast, this I think tends to get called a clarity tool now. This, I think it was a bit lighter. It sort of gives a bit of punch to the picture by increasing the contrast. I hope you can sort of see the difference. So that's something else that you can do. I'll just cancel out of that, saying I don't want to, because what I want to show you is this thing called levels. Now, this is the really useful tool. This is made up of 10 million little specks of light, and for each speck of light, it's given a brightness on a number between 1 and 250, 0 and 255. 0 meaning it's completely black, 255 is that it's completely white. And then, so then it's totted up all those buttons and drawn this graph of how many are very dark, these are the ones, how many are at level 141, how much at a level 200, and how many are up at 255, which is completely white. And this just gives you that picture. But the natty thing about this is that you can sort of reverse that process by, sorry, that's just, if I roll the scroll wheel, it makes it bigger, zooms in or zooms out. Because it would appear that this picture has got almost no absolute white in it. And it's got some complete black, but not much. Most of it, not surprisingly, is this sort of grey, which is why this is the big lump in the middle. So what we can do is, if I pull this slider to the left, what that's telling it to do is to say that everything, all the points of the image which have a value higher than 220 to make white, as if they were 255. So if I keep doing that, and you'll see what it starts, what it's doing is taking the whiter, the darker, the pale images and making them whiter. Now it's saying there's almost all the images, all the points which are at above 138 are to be white, 255. So if I put it back, so we have overall changed, and the same thing happens with the black. Now, if I do that, what it's saying is all the points which have a value between 0 and 31 make 0. So now level 31 is dead black instead of level 0. It's the same with this now. Level 200 thereabouts is dead white rather than 255. I hope you can sort of see that, and you can see what it's done to the picture. It's brightened the picture. Okay, so if we okay that, And if we go back into that, you can see how it's changed the spread of the light. It's made the darker, it kept the darkers the same, but it's spread the picture more to the right. So it's given a much broader range of light between light and dark, and it's a really helpful tool. If you understand, and I hope that sort of understands it, makes it understandable. So we go back now. Then you can still use this. You can use brightness to make it brighter or not, and you can use, again, if we just make it brighter, and again you can see what that's done. Don't worry about something called gamma. I don't understand it, and I've really tried to look. And okay, we've also really played around with the contrast. So now we're sort of getting a bit nearer to how we might want the picture to weigh. But there's some other things in here which are not adding to the picture. And some of these things are, I just want to brighten it a bit. That's better. Okay. Is up here, okay, we've got this ball, but we've also got these little things up here, which are sort of distracting from what you're looking at. So you have a tool here, which is called Clone and Heal. This is fairly easy to use, but it's a bit limited, but it works. And what you can do, you can see, I hope you can see that I've now got this sort of circle. I can move around the picture, and I can make it bigger. Like with this, you see, so it's now much bigger, or I can make it smaller, of course. And the other thing you can do is the hardness, and I'll just show you what it does. Effectively, what it does, if I hope you can just see this circle. Perhaps if I come down here, I hope you can see it down at the bottom right.
Mm-hmm.
If I now hold the Control key down and click, it'll pick up that bit of the picture. And then if I move it to somewhere and then left click, it's moved that bit of the picture, all those tones, to that position. If I make the hardness full and do the same thing, it gives you not a fuzzy edge. If I go down to there, and if I do it, it gives you a sort of fuzzy edged move. I just back through those by Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. So that just takes me back through that, because what I want to do is to get rid of this, this, and this. So what I'm going to do is make a pic, and I want the hardness probably about 6 or 7. This is a matter of trial and error. So I will just pick up this bit of the netting and put it over that. I'll pick up a bit of this and move it there. I must say I'm sort of doing it fairly quickly, but I would probably take a little bit more care about it if it was more important, if you see what I mean, if I was wanting to hear this for demonstration purposes. Now, if you okay that, you've lost those sort of little distractions up there. I haven't done it particularly well, but I think you can see the understanding. Here, we've got the same problem. We've got this bottle and got this thing. So there is a way that you can deal with that. If I go to Clone and Heal, again, it gives me the hunt, enlarge the picture. Now what I'm going to do is make that a bit smaller. And then if I put this thing here, Control, left click, can you see? I hope you can see that the hard circle has now made the bottle disappear, but the little dotted circle to the right is what has been moved over the bottle. So as I actually move this, it's taking with it its shadow, as it were, which is where it's taking the image content to put where I'm putting it in the solid circle. If I do the same thing here now, you remember, if I pick up this thing, a piece of this, I go Control left click. I can get rid of that. And now, if I'm cute, I can continue to do this. Okay. Now, it doesn't look very marvelous on here because, again, I've done it fairly quickly. But I think you get the idea, and it's taken out these distractions in the middle of the picture, so it's concentrated your view on what's being the purpose of the picture. And the last thing I would do is there is a way of doing the same thing as this ball, but I'm not going to do that because I haven't really got time to do that. But I think now we have got a picture that I think is an improvement on how it started. At least I think so. And it is black and white. I can't turn it back to mono now, not from here anyway, without going back through all the steps. So I don't know, I hope you sort of seen, I think I would probably take out these two dots up here. And then that's effectively the picture. If I show you here.
Andrew,
Yes.
can I just interject a moment? I'm just mindful of time.
Yes.
And that Tony's got to do another bit and you've got to do another bit.
Well, yes. I've come to the end of this. I just want to show. That's one that I did earlier a bit more carefully. And you can see that this looks quite neat. And that's the picture that you've ended up with. And that's you can do all that with this piece of software.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's similar to Lightroom, but it's simpler, isn't it?
Yes, it's not as
free
versatile. I mean that clone and healing is very limited, but even with the limited, if once you learn what the limitations are, you can try and use them to their best advantage.
Absolutely, that's good. Well done. So, are we going to let Tony have a go on his bit now?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he still around?
I need to unshare somehow.
You just come
Stop
out.
Sharing. Okay, I've stopped sharing.
Well done. Tony, are you okay to do your bit?
Yeah, I think so. I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Go on then.
Okay. Right. Well, okay. Am I on?
No, not yet. Oh, you are, if you share the screen.
Oh, good. I've never seen that before.
What?
No. Says I'm sharing. No shit.
Have you got the program running?
Have I got my
program that you want to use running in the background?
No, I was going to just.
Well, you need to have that running before you share.
Okay.
Otherwise, you've got nothing to share.
Okay. All right. Let's just come out of there. What I was doing.
If you stop sharing.
Okay.
If you open up.
Okay, just bear with me 2 seconds. Okay. Can you see those 5 images?
Yes, Tony.
Okay, fine. Okay. Smart Photo Editor was introduced to me by Bob a few years ago. It's nowhere near as sophisticated as what Andrew's just shown you, and it's not my intention to show you how to crop and how to remove objects. But what I have done, I've taken 5 just pictures at random. They're not particularly good pictures, or one of them is, which is the number 2 one says Michelle, which I didn't take. But let's just start with the first one. And if I open the first one, you see it's just a picture of some boots that I took. But what I can do is I can open this with Smart Photo Editor. Now, for Smart Photo Editor, it's already on my system, and what it can do, now it's got lots of things on there, lots of other things, but just for tonight, I'm just going to show you how I would turn that into a black and white image. So there's something called Effects Gallery, which I will show you this first of all before I go on to black and white. If you use the Effects Gallery, there are 659 pages of effects that you can use. They far exceed anything I could do, and they're not as sophisticated as the thing Andrew just showed you. But what you can do with the picture I've just got on the screen, I've got some favorite shortcuts which I've saved, and I'm going to show you one accurate black and white. So that is an accurate black and white picture. I'll be honest, I haven't done it. The system has done it. It's not very, I can change the fading, and I can change other things in it. But as an example, this is one that I've used, accurate black and white. Now there's one called perceptual black and white, which you can also use. And that's quite an interesting one. And if you click on any of these, go back to that first one, the accurate black and white one, you can then go on to Effects Gallery again, and it brings up loads and loads of different versions of the black and white image. So you can, if you wish, just run through, and you can see any sort of image that you like the look of. I've seen one of our club members who actually used this particular image for a windmill and did quite well in competition. There's lots of others, lots of them are not black and white as such, but that's this is a low-key, high contrast black and white image. And then you got a pinhole one, this called, and I think you'll find there's another page, there's an HDR black and white detail one. So it's a way of turning your color image, and you don't need RAW. You can do it from a JPEG. There's lots and lots of different. Oh, that's just reversed it. And there's a numerous number of different sort of versions of black and white. So just going back and picking another one. Just cancel that. Just come out and just. When you excuse me, when you save them, they save them with the same name and the letter PE after it. So, and if you then change it again and again, I used to change mine to PE1, PE2, and eventually, if I decide I want to put one of them in competition, I give it a proper name. But just to try and give you an example of another image. Whoops, I'll discard that. Now this one here is a nice picture. I didn't take it. This is my granddaughter. I never took this picture, but it's a really good quality picture. If I open this one, open with Smart Photo, I mean, that's a good quality color picture as it is. Just increased it. I didn't want to do that. I can't think how to get behind it. Yeah, that's it. So again, going with black and white, accurate black and white, makes quite a good image. Then quite simply, without too much effort, you can just run along. So you can choose that one, that one, that one. There's lots and lots of different versions of black and white. I know that you can spend hours, and I'm sure lots of our colleagues in the club do spend hours and hours moving sliders and things like this. But this is a very simple and very effective way, I think, of this is, you know, I have to just confess something now. I've got the game on the iPad, and it's just out of my view, and I just saw a score of second goal. So, but anyway, that's beside the point. But so this is, I mean, there's all sorts of things you can do, and they're clever, they're effective, and I think to be honest, I just haven't got the time, I haven't got the inclination to spend hours and hours moving sliders and trying to get better pictures. I don't know what people generally think, but there's all sorts of things I know. And I tried another one, cancel, discard. This is a picture I took at the Globe Theatre, which I thought was quite nice. And oops, seen that one before. I'll open that with Smartphoto. Now, it's quite nice, quite sharp. I've already cropped it. I thought, I wonder what it looks like in black and white. So I put it in black and white, and I thought, yeah, that's not bad. And I tried a few more. So if you go to Effects Gallery again, and go back to black and white, and then you can try some different versions of it. And any of us can do this. I mean, it's not very difficult at all. And I don't know how people feel this compares to using Lightroom and compares to using Faststone that Andrew's just used, which is very good, no doubt about that. But is it any better? I don't know. I don't think it is. To my eyes, it isn't. And then I don't win many competitions. But you know, you see what I'm saying. And I'll just show you one more. Discard that. Okay, I'll just try Trafalgar Square. These are just chosen, not for any particular reason, just that they've just popped up on my screen, and I thought I'd try them out. So there's a nice bright colour picture of Trafalgar Square and the fountains, and I'll just try that to put that in black and white. It's all right, it's not very exciting, but I think if I went along a little further, there's some better images of it. That's maybe a better image. You can see the water. That even puts a little bracket on, a little border around it for you as well. Very dramatic. And there's that one that I say, I do remember one member of the camera club doing that image, doing that effect on a windmill that did well in one of the competitions. So there's numerous things you can do. Just reverses it around. And I don't know how much longer I've got. So if I could just choose, a completely different image. Just if I could just find some really rubbish image. Well, okay. There's some horses. I mean, it's not very good. No, just completely around. I've just grabbed a horse, and I'm going to open that in. Oops, not that one. I'm going to open that in open with Smartphoto. Now, that's just an image out the camera, straight out the camera. Now, even with not turning it into black and white, if you wanted to improve that picture, there's lots and lots of different things. And the funny thing is, this system seems to give you, as soon as you open it up, it gives you good versions of what they think is the best type of image for your photograph. So that looks quite good to me. You can do other things with it, but you can, oops, that one's called Amazing Watercolor. That one's called Instagram, something inspired, but there's so many different versions of it. I mean, you can also do things like you can crop in here, you can remove items as well. I'm no great expert on it at all, but it just shows you can it go back to that one? You could just do something which they call pop, which is a silly old figure. If you just do a pop of it, it just brightens the whole thing up. And if you can't be bothered spending too long doing it, you can use something like this, which is what I do quite often. I don't have the time and the inclination, certainly with black and white, I don't have the inclination to spend hours and hours on Lightroom or on Faststone or even Adobe Photoshop. I just don't have the inclination to do it. I know some people do, but I don't. But what we're talking about tonight is supposed to be black and white. So if I went to this one and just go, no, so I've not seen this version of it, but there it is in black and white, which is very, very grey, not particularly interesting, but I can then maybe turn that into this one. Who would try this one? We just try some different sort of images of it. None of them are particularly good, but now and again you'll find a good one. As I say, there are three. This is page 3 of 659 pages. I've never got past about 3 pages, to be quite honest. So, would anybody consider using something like this?
It's very good, Andrew. I have got it on my computer and I have used it occasionally, but as you say, the options are endless, aren't they?
Yeah, this is it. And the thing about it is, it only costs about 20 quid.
Yes.
I mean, it's very reasonable, but it depends what you want out of your photography, really. I mean, I can see that the quality of my pictures are nowhere near the same that like Mike Spurway puts in, or Andrew puts in, or Bob. Well, lots of them really. I can see that, but nevertheless, they satisfy me. Generally, they do the things I want it to do, and I will use Photoshop sometimes. I mean, this is a really nice effect for a photo, I think. I've lost it now, but this one here, that's quite a nice effect for a photo. You've got a nice photo and you want to print it up and stick it on the wall. It's quite nice, I think.
You make a jigsaw out of it.
Yeah, well, that's right, really. Yeah. Anyway, that's what Smartphoto does. And if we're just looking for turning black and white images, it's a very simple way of doing it. Even you can do it, that, Mr. Balcom.
Thank you.
And you have got it, haven't you?
Yeah, oh, yes.
Drew?
Yeah, so that's it. That's me done, really.
Okay, thanks. Andrew, are you ready to do the other bit of yours?
How long have we got?
I can't answer questions like that. How long is it going to take?
We started at about between 10 and quarter past.
Well, whatever. So
I can
How-
do, yes, I obviously I can just give a little intro to Photoshop Elements. Okay, it's a fairly old version, but that doesn't particularly matter.
no,
If but it, you know,
you
to do the same thing, okay, with a different picture, but it's to do the same thing.
okay.
Does with that are people who are not familiar? I mean, Ken, have you seen or used or had anything to do with Photoshop Elements or Photoshop itself?
I have Elements,
You do,
but use it rarely.
right? What about you, Michael? Welcome.
I don't. Oh, sorry, Michael.
The other.
I've got the one Tony's just done, and Adobe as well.
Yeah, and me.
Photoshop Elements.
No, I haven't got it.
You haven't.
No.
Right.
But I will listen.
Other Michael, what do you? Have?
No, I haven't got it at all. No.
Is there any point in? Would you like to see a little bit about it?
Yes. Well.
Yes,
No.
carry on,
Yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Please. Yeah.
Okay. Just share screen. So it starts slightly differently, and a lot of it I don't use, a great deal I don't. So to find the files, you need to do your files. Actually, I don't want that. I want. This is a sorry, it's a type of image that it can't deal with. It can't deal with raw files. This is a picture I took quite a long time ago at a motorcycle, a motocross. Sorry about that. And I wanted to try and make it a little bit better. So you can do the same sort of things with this in the same, but it's just a different way into doing the same things. You have these tools with little icons, which it helps to learn. But it does tell you what they all are, but you've got to understand. So they have the crop tool. So the first thing that I want to do is heavily crop it. And a little tick, because the business really is this guy who's kneeling down because he's fallen off his bike and he's got all this lot thundering down behind him. So, you know, that's the picture. That's the first crop, but obviously this bloke, he's disappearing off. So he's past it. So we really don't want him either. So we'll just knock that off. And it's and there's a little bit more of the sort of picture that I want. Now then, if to change it to black and white, you've got under this enhance tool, you see it operates does the same thing but operates in a completely different way from Faststone. You've got convert to black and white. And then this also then gives you a number of options which you can choose for yourself. it's chosen to do it like a scenic landscape, or you can have it looking like what you might use for a portrait, or if it was a newspaper, what it thinks, it's what it's called. It's just the name, it's exactly the same as Tony was showing. You just select an appearance with a name, and it's just does different things with the image, and you can just choose the one that you like. You can actually also twiddle with these sliders if you want, which change bits of it, but I'm not sure that I think the thing to do is to choose the one here that looks best. So we'll just choose that one. And really, that's it. There's a lot more that you can do with this. Again, you can adjust the lighting by changing the shadows and the highlights. And again, so you've got these sliders here, and by turning this one, it brightens up the dark bits of the picture. And this one does the opposite of trying to dim down the bright bits, but there's not much bright in the picture, so you can't really see that it's doing very much. But you probably do want to lighten it up a bit. You can just see what it's done, and you can just okay that. That's looking at it as a black and white picture. There's still, the problem is that these two guys here are rather bright at the edge of the picture, and they're sort of, this guy is the important bit. So what I have done actually is to take that. And now there are certain things that you with this lighting, there's other things that you can do, which is brightness and contrast, which you can turn the contrast, which gives us a punch to the picture. I hope that you can see it. That sort of, it just improves these pictures, this particular picture. I think the other thing that I would do to this, but I won't, is these two people standing here and these ones here are superfluous, particularly these ones, because they're looking away. So I have done a version of this where I have, using a clone and heal process with here, where you choose a bit of the picture and overlay it on the bits you don't want. So the process is just the same. I think if I open, both those, there's one where I think this is the one I've just done, you see, and you've got these two people sitting over the right and these two people standing here just over the tires, a sign, looking in the wrong way. So if I change, I have taken out these two people sitting there and taken them out, and I think that's how I would leave the picture at the end. So the processes are just the same, you just access them in a slightly different way. And they are, the cloning business that I did is much more versatile in Photoshop. And there's a hell of a lot of other things here that it will do that Faststone doesn't pretend to do. So, which I haven't got time, which aren't necessary for any particular image and aren't necessary for mono, but you can use them if you wish and if you want to learn how to use them, and doubtless improve pictures.
Excellent, Andrew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well done, Andrew.
It makes you wonder why people are spending £10 or whatever is a month to use Photoshop.
Yeah. I use DxO to convert my raw pictures, and you do quite a lot of editing in DxO
Okay.
and finish off. But all the sorting, I do some editing with this, but I generally use it for sorting my pictures, which it's good at. The Faststone. There is a tool here where you can do batch conversion of images, the name, or you can batch rename a bunch of images, or you can convert them to different formats. That sort of thing I do use.
Having watched what those three processes, it makes me wonder why, in all honesty, you need, and I'm not suggesting it's not valuable for certain people, but Photoshop, with all its attendant gizmos and things like that, for what I would call, reasonable standard club photography.
You can certainly do it. You've got to have the right source, because not everything will make a good black and white picture to start with.
No, I agree. But what I'm talking about is the relative simplicity of those processes compared to Photoshop, for instance.
I think what tends to get people think Photoshop, it was designed for professionals, right? Who are doing things, and the full Photoshop costs you about 650 quid now. The Elements, I think, is around about 100.
Yeah.
I've got a Elements 10. I haven't upgraded it for ages, and I see no reason to do that.
I agree with you.
It actually, an awful lot of the pictures is nothing to do with is it light and dark and so on. It's the cropping. It's the getting the right. What's the word? Oh, I can't think of the word. Emphasis in the picture. When you look at the picture, what am I trying to show? And is there anything in this picture which doesn't help that? Lots of frilly bits around the edges. Cropping is we get nagged to do it, but it makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does. Well, I was thinking of the guy that we saw. What was his name? Andy Moss. The guy who was the sports photographer.
Yeah.
And, I think that was evident in that presentation, how much you can lose or you need to lose to make an image stand out, really. And this one that you've got here is a classic example of that, isn't it, really?
Yes.
Yeah. The trouble is you've got to have enough raw data, if you like, the big enough image to start with, which is of reasonable quality, if you're only going to take 20% of it and chuck away 80%. So that's where higher resolution cameras become more significant.
But you see, am I right in thinking, Tony, you said that your one, it can't cope with RAW, can it?
Oh, I'm not saying that because, to be honest, I don't know. But
no.
Those
Faststone can't, and neither can Photoshop Elements.
Right.
I was talking about Smartphoto. As far as I know, I've only ever used JPEGs on it. But I can be honest, I can see that the quality of Andrew's one is superior to what I was showing you earlier.
It's you're not going to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear anyway. So if the picture hasn't got it to start with, it doesn't matter what you do with it.
No, I agree. No, it's interesting. There was one thing I'm just trying to remember what. Right, Andrew, when you were talking about Faststone,
yeah,
that I'm right in thinking that automatically saves each step that you take, doesn't it?
No,
it doesn't.
No, not automatically. You need to do it because, as I said, you see, if I open up a picture, you see, if I do something to it. Sorry, that's the wrong. If I, proper lump out of it. And now if I want to move on to another picture, either by going back, I can go back to the thumbnail screen, okay? But if I then move my selection from this to this, it will say, do you want to save the changes that you've made? It still remembers the picture you've got and you've done work to.
Yeah.
And if ask you, do you want to save that?
Well, that's okay. I mean, at least it's prompting you to make that
Yes.
decision, isn't
And
it?
as you can see, if I just do this, you see if what I did with this thing, if I just flip, this is that picture when I was editing it to start with. This is how it started, and as I went through, this is how it started, how it progressed. That was the first crop. That's the next crop.
I'm not seeing it.
Taking out,
I can't.
sorry, taking out the ball at the top
I'm not,
and
see-
the
we're not seeing-
bottle down between them.
I'm not seeing any of that.
Eh?
I'm still watching. I'm still looking at the motorbike.
Mm.
Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing the screen. Sorry.
I thought there was a problem somewhere.
Oh, I'm sharing. I am screen share.
Yeah.
Screen sharing.
Which only on the finished product.
Yes.
So what are you seeing, guys?
The last picture.
The last, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
These numbers.
What?
Motorbike or the basketball?
Motorbike.
Motorbike, the motorbikes.
Motorbike.
Right.
Okay.
Mm.
Hello, Martin.
Hello, I'm just finding out where you're at in terms of finishing or not.
We've done the 3 that we set out to do.
Yeah,
We're just having a discussion about one of them, and Andrew was just about to go back to the first one that he did just to show us the
all right,
just there.
okay. Because the other 2 rooms are both back in, they finished, they're back in the main room.
Well, they need to take their time.
Yeah. We can hear you ticking, Martin. We know you have arrived. You're like a bomb.
So you're still going, are you?
Yeah, just for a bit.
Yeah, all right, okay. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, when you've done, you know, there's 2 groups already in the main room. I'm going back there now. So when you're done, just, you know,
Come back.
Mm.
come back.
We
See you
will.
later. See you
We
later.
won't be long.
Go
If
back.
everybody's champing at the bit, then tell them we'll be 5 minutes.
Yeah, okay. And you know how to get out. On your screen, there's a blue leave room.
Yeah.
Button, or there should be. So that's the
Oh,
one.
we're still in group. We're still in room 3, are we?
You're
Yeah.
still in
Yes.
the room. Yeah.
Okay.
You will need to leave your room when you finish. Okay.
So I've got to share screen again now.
All right. Okay.
Go on,
Well, I'll stay with you. See what you're doing.
fire away, Andrew.
Okay. And I just want to change this thing to just the speaker so that it's get it out of the way. I've just got to, right. Can you see that? You can all see that now, the basketball picture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's how it started. This was the first crop. And that was the second. And then I
Took the water
took
bottle.
took out this bottle here and these
Bag.
distractions up here, and I think I took out those 2 dots over on the door as well.
Yep.
No.
No, you left the dots, but the rest went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did use that, what I just briefly showed you, when you can select a certain bit of it to darken down that guy's, so that he's just now got a grey
Oh.
rather than white, so that he's, and I think that was it. And I hadn't bothered to take out this. I thought it was okay. I only did that as more example than the other one.
Okay.
If we go on, Oh,
Mm.
you see, that was the final.
Yeah.
You've got the guy there in grey. This is all gone. Well, I haven't taken all these incidental distractions out here or taken that out there. So there's another version of it where I have taken out. It's taken out these little distractions.
Yeah.
You don't lose anything out of the meaning of the picture, but actually it emphasises on what's happening.
Yeah. No, I get that. That's good.
Okay, I'll stop
Excellent.
sharing.
Well done, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
Thank you all.
Okay,
You got there he is.
we're going to leave the room.
Yeah.
We-
Thanks, chaps.
Gosh, oh no, God.
Fairly quick and dirty chop down. I'm down to about 500 now.
Wow, my goodness.
It's produced a few images that I haven't seen for a long time, which I thought, oh, I can use that. So you might see them.
So have you physically thrown a lot of them out, Jeff, or
Yes.
reboxed them and put them back in the attic?
No, there's a lot of them are gone.
Gone.
As I say, it was about 20,000. It's down to about 500.
Wow.
Good.
And I've done the same things with the prints.
Gosh.
So anything that was done quite well, I've kept. Anything that didn't is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, you do have to be quite disciplined, don't you? I think otherwise it just accumulates.
Even not a brutal.
Yeah.
Anybody interested in some slide boxes or print boxes? I have got plenty of them. And
I did
slide
the same
racks.
recently. I did the same recently. What shocked me the other day, I was talking, I don't know if he's here, Mike Spurway, about how many images he's got, digital images.
Oh, I've got God knows how many thousands of them.
How many do you think have you got?
I think it's about 25,000.
Wow.
Right. Well, I've got 8,000. Mike Spurway, I'm hesitating because I want to, he's either got, from the conversation we had the other day, 500,000.
Oh my God.
But I might have misunderstood. He could have 800,000.
Mike, that guy who was doing that webinar, I mean, he said he got over 600,000, didn't he?
He did.
Oh, yes.
Some people just don't know where the delete button is.
No.
That's 600,000 different images, or are we talking? I mean, I've got a large number, but then as you can see, my editing process, it generates an awful lot of intermediate images, which I do or I don't go back and delete, but I ought to be able to go back and delete them, but I tend not to. So I've got a lot of repetition, if you like, but I've probably got 30 or 40,000. That's
I was going to say, if you're taking them in RAW and JPEG, that's an awful lot of storage.
Yes.
Mm.
Trouble is, storage is cheap. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
John Hill was telling me the other day that one of his cameras was packed up after doing 300,000 exposures.
And he's taking it back for a refund.
Yeah, I was just going to say something like that.
Yeah.